I aced all of my exams this year and I only studied 90 minutes for each one. The normal studying advice out there almost had me reach burnout, just for a disappointing C. So, after months of reading and research, I found strategies that made acing exams quicker than ever. All it comes down to are 3 studying principles, which I will present to you right now. Let's start with the first key concept, which is by far the most important, yet also the most misunderstood. I know to some of you, it might sound absurd that anyone could fully prepare for an exam in just 90 minutes. Most of you spend hours and hours in front of your textbooks, late into the night, trying to figure out that one formula. But the reason that you burn hours studying just to get a disappointing C grade is because you've been studying wrong all along. You might think that you're studying for 8 hours a day, but in reality, you are spending 2 hours texting with your friends, 1 hour scrolling Instagram reels, another hour eating lunch, and so on. So you're not really studying for 8 hours a day. You're probably working for maybe 2 hours a day. If you actually want to be a productive student, you only need one idea, and you get ahead of 99% of your classmates. Let me introduce you to the deep work equation. The deep work equation states that time multiplied by the intensity of focus equals results. Now, you are studying for 8 hours a day, but you're probably at a focus level of 2 out of 10. But if you crank up your level of intensity of focus to an 8 or a 9 and you study for only 2 hours, you get the same results but in a fraction of the time. The secret behind studying less lies in this effect. You need to start being intentional about the intensity of your studying, not just how many hours you're putting in. Intensity trumps time. So this is what I want you to do. You're gonna go on Amazon and you're gonna buy this kitchen timer. It's $10 and it will save you hundreds of hours. So every time you sit down for a study session, set this focus timer to 90 minutes. 90 minutes in which you work as intensely as you can. To make that easier, eliminating distractions is key. A great measure is to get rid of your phone. Before a focus session even starts, throw your phone into another room. If you need to have it closer, block the notifications and throw it out of sight. Actually, fuck that. Get your phone out of the room. Secondly, choose a quiet space where you're not interrupted by others. A library is perfect, for example. Most importantly, consider creating a ritual that makes your focus come even quicker. For example, setting up white noise in a clean workspace combined with a bulk supply of water is my personal favorite. Also, use Parkinson's law. Picture packing for a trip with a huge suitcase. A big suitcase often results in overpacking, which takes more time and energy. But now, you choose to leave with a carry-on instead. Suddenly, you pack only the luggage that is actually needed in a fraction of the time. Be like that in your sessions too. Don't assign seemingly huge tasks to be finished over the span of weeks. Work expands to fill the available time. Instead, immediately start on these big tasks in your 90-minute deep work session. You will be amazed at how much you'll get done, especially when preparing for exams. So, can increased intensity get you an easy A? Not at all. Because even if you can study more focused than the best knowledge workers in the world, you will miss out on actual results if you disregard this next concept. I'm calling it studying pragmatism. To show what I mean, I want you to imagine a mountain climber. Let's say you have a goal. You want to climb that one mountain, Mountain A, and you never wanted to see the summit of the unrelated Mountain B. Listen very carefully now, because this is the heart of the video. I'm confident when I say that a lot of people, in their study session, climb Mountain B. I'm not saying they aren't climbing well, because that's what people focus on. We literally just discussed how to climb better. But your main priority is different. The what is 5 times more important than the how. Picking the optimal task is the foundation productivity is built upon. Choose wrong and the entire building collapses. This is the important differentiation of efficiency and effectiveness. Efficiency is how well you climb, and effectiveness is the what mountain you choose. Before any exam, you have to figure out what topics are the most effective for you to study. Or as a result, you will spend even those highly focused hours to get a disappointing grade. You achieve that with the 80-20 rule. The 80-20 rule helps us realize that only 20% of all that we could study actually results in 80% of personal improvement. Let me demonstrate. I often studied hard and efficiently for an exam, only to receive a grade that didn't reflect the effort I put in. The issue was that I overlooked the most important step, understanding which topics I struggled with the most and focusing on those areas that were critical for the exam. To work that out, you should always make sure that you have a written overview of all needed topics for the exam, either by making such a sheet yourself or by getting one from the teacher. What we're gaining here is an understanding of the teacher's view. To be effective, we should focus on what information they give us, as they know best what the exam demands. The first time you're checking the sheet of subjects to learn, rate each topic with either a good, meh, or nah, depending on how confident you're about it. As a result, we successfully identified the effective 20%. Those 20% of the topics that make up 80% of our personal improvement regarding the grade. Logically, we should only focus on understanding these topics when we do our high-intensity deep work. Now, all of what I said certainly made me a top student, but there's one more really important thing we haven't addressed that, well, this all depends upon. Sure, it might sound dull, but listen, paying attention in class is invaluable. You have the blueprint to deeply study only the most important topics combined with killer focus, which means achieving optimal preparation for the next exam is highly possible with just 90 minutes. But it's all useless if you never had any foundation in the first place. Not paying any attention often means that you don't have any idea of what your course is even talking about. And no, I don't want to discourage all of you who already struggle with school and think, oh, so I'm just supposed to know stuff? Not at all. I really know what it feels like when some courses leave you behind, even though you're a smart individual. Catching up, no matter how big the gap, is even easier now using the strategies I gave you. But it's unavoidable to at least have a great understanding of what topics you need to learn in the first place. I see studying as the elimination of your personal weaknesses. But if we can't even initially identify them, we won't get far. We literally can't solve a problem we can't see. But reality isn't that boring. I want you to listen like a performer. Don't worry, I'm not talking about ghosting your friends and constantly scaring at the teacher like a lunatic. Actually, it's quite the opposite. Your attention is a depletable resource, so you need to spend it wisely. If your teacher yaps about unimportant topics, just filter them out. Daydream, sketch in your notebook, talk with buddies, or do unrelated tasks in class. But when there's a new topic, something that you don't understand yet, open your eyes widely, take notes, ask questions, and make sure you understand what you need to understand. Having understood all this, I will give you some tips from my experience to avoid other traps that may cost you hours. For example, I found a middle ground between cramming and consistent but exhausting practice. Usually, I have two 90-minute studying sessions right before a challenging exam. The first session is scheduled 5 days before the exam, and the second session 3 days later. A one-day gap without any studying has proven quite relaxing for me. It really helps clear the head. But on the day of the exam, I mentally recall the most important things on my way to school. It's called productive meditation. I could make a video about that. For sure, you could take the blueprint of this video and start getting effortless A's. But actually, we forgot the other half of knowledge to excel at school. Aside from practicing for exams, you have to learn the best technique for memorizing things as well. If you don't learn these concepts, your next exam will be a struggle, and you'll spend hours on inefficient memorization. So to complete your studying technique, check out this video to copy my method to memorize hundreds of formulas effortlessly just by taking simple notes in class. Or if you already know it, consider rewatching it to revise its concepts. A paradigm shift.